Okay, we back again. 2 videos one night. Anyways, I had a really cool idea that I notice I do way better videos when I don't show my face. For some reason, my videos suck when I show my face, but we're gonna try this without my face because I just do better videos. So I think everybody always tells me you should do your face, you should show your face, you get more views and all this stuff. I don't really care about all that. I just want a good video that has good content. So, okay, I know a lot of really big furus. I'm not trying to be a furu, but a lot of big furus that don't ever show their face. Who cares? We're just here for learning, right? Because I had a buddy who sent me a quiz. He said a 2-minute quiz. Your opinion: 3 to go long or 3 to short. And he sent me a list of them. So I wanted to go through a process of looking at these different stocks. Now the stocks he said are going to be. We're going to create a little watch list here for them. And this guy's name he's awesome. His name is, he's got the word top in his name, and he loves to short stuff. So it just works out perfect that his last name has top in it. And I just always thought that was hilarious. But, okay, so Baba, MU, SQ, NVIDIA, AMAT, Tesla, AMD, ON, Affirm. These are stocks that I am fairly familiar with. Spce, Riot, and Sava. Oops, Sava. Do I have Spce on there? Riot, good. And then Bbig, which Bbig is becoming one of my faves. So definitely looking forward to this. First off, we're going to just kind of take a glance at all these charts here and just see what we like. And as of, so just kind of looking at all of them here, just real quick, let it load up and kind of get a glance of, where it's at, what it's doing. AMAT, we got AMAT, which is going to be your semiconductor. Affirm, which they're down a little bit here, but they got the deal with Amazon and Apple for their payment services. Okay, and then AMD Semiconductor looks like it's kind of breaking down here on some closing down on the day's lows underneath the cloud. I mean, as far as total buy and sell here, doesn't look very good. Baba, interesting. We did do a video on Baba. Ended up being pretty close to the bottom on that call. It wasn't exactly my call, but I was kind of going with some of the furus out there, and we just wanted to see if they were looking at what we're looking at. Baba looked like a bottom there around like that 160, 155 range. Right now it's trading at that 175, looking pretty decent on the 60, on the hourly, and the 4-hour. And the oscillators on the weekly, daily are turning up, so that's kind of nice. We see that here, oscillators weekly, daily, and we've got all buys here on the hourly and the 4-hour. And we got a 30-minute uptrend here for the most part. So above the cloud, I like Baba here. I like Baba for long. Bbig, traded this one today. Was trading for this breakout of the cloud here, and there was some really good option flow on it. So we'll go through this one too. We'll see if this one's a short candidate or for more upside. And then MU. So I like Bbig here. I don't really much like Affirm. Affirm does look like it could be a decent dip buy here in this zone. So, I mean, longer term Affirm, but I'm not really interested in longer term. We're interested in the short term stuff. AMAT looking pretty solid here, about to break up. So we're going to definitely be looking at AMAT, AMD. I'm just looking at these charts. I don't like it, so I'm just going to put it to the bottom here. Baba, I like. MU, another semiconductor. It just kind of looks sideways here. Maybe a good candidate for some kind of strangle play or something, but we'll look at the flow on that one. NEO, they did a secondary, $2 billion secondary offering at the money. So they sold off as soon as I saw that happen, which is great for me because I like NEO long term. So I'll be definitely buying the dip on that one for sure. NVIDIA, great stock, but man, this thing has ripped. Right now it's sitting right under last month's high here, which is kind of nice. So you can see it came up right to that last month high, and it's been selling off a little bit. So I'd be looking more for a dip here, but we're going to wait on that one. We'll see what the flow looks like on that one maybe. Another semiconductor on, which is kind of, let's see, how big is this company? What do we got here? 19 bill. I know I've seen the CEO talk about this company, and the demand is out of this world is what he says. So I like this one long because we all know that chips are in demand. We've got a lot of buys here on the panel here, on the technical ratings panel. The trend on the 30-minute isn't quite amazing yet, but we do have basically an all-time high breakout. I don't know if this is all-time high. Is this all? Yeah, so we got potential breakouts happening here on ON. So I'm glad he brought this one to my attention. I'm moving that puppy up to the top. Riot. Let's see Riot here. We got Bitcoin cratering, so I'm liking this one as a short. Looks like it wants to break down last month low, so this is where I would be looking right here. So you can just set yourself a little alert here if it crosses down. Maybe that's a pretty simple short. Maybe coming back to like even 24. I don't see any other levels here besides 24 and 20. So great stock to short here in my opinion. But we'll look at the flow on that one. So we're going to turn that puppy red. And we'll look at the flow and continue that looking at that short. Sava, I like Sava, but man, what the heck happened to this thing? It was trading on like 120 recently. So all sells, definitely a short candidate here. I was trying to dip by that thing, and it shook me out with some stops. So I'm good. I will short it if I need to. Now there was bullish flow on Spce. Spce, interesting stock, has a big wide range here. You can see it hasn't moved much, but it doesn't look like it's moved much, but it actually has moved a whole buck here on the day. So from the low, I like this stock long, but we're going to double check with the flow and see if that corresponds with my thesis on it that it's going higher, because I did see some flow, bullish flow on it last week. That's why I'm sitting long in it right now. I've watched Spce for years, and this 24 level is always a big level, of 20, 24 levels. So we'll see if this support holds. It did hold this yearly close, which is good. And right now it's trading around its weekly close. It closed right above last week's close. So interesting close there for that one. Square selling off, probably going to be correlated with Bitcoin. So we're not going to be worried about messing around with this unless you wanted to short it. We'll look at the flow on that one as well. Tesla, I love long here. Got stopped here at the 756, so I got that marked there. I got some alerts set to see if this thing wants to continue higher. Nice green cloud, nice green trend. It did start weakening here, but this is after hours, so I'm going to kind of discount the weakening of that, but it's pretty much all buys. So all systems go on Tesla for higher. It did break out of last week's range pretty quickly. It does like to run first day of the week, so I'm very cautious here, especially with only a couple days left. But right now it's trading within its quarterly range, last quarterly range, and that high is going to be 786. So I would expect that level to probably be its next resistance point, to where it consolidates kind of like it did around this 721, this range here, which was a yearly range. So it broke out of its last year's high, which was the 718, 719. So it spent quite a few days there. It tried to break out a couple times, kept selling off, and then traded there for a little bit longer. Finally broke out, and then it traded again sideways for about a week or so. So now it's breaking out again. So just kind of a stair step and higher, which is nice. We want to see it kind of maybe trade here for a while or continue higher. We'll see. We'll see what Tesla wants to do. Crazy stock. I would definitely not be trying to short it here. If anything, you could probably be selling calls. If you're going to try and short it, I would not be buying puts on it unless you really know what you're doing. Wish, an interesting stock, a meme stock. One thing I don't like about these kind of stocks, especially when I see these pumps right here, these just remind me of it's just a pump and dump every time. And we had another one there. So, I mean, it's like clockwork. You buy this thing on the dip and you just sell on the rip. They never really let it just kind of keep going on a slow grind. But you are sitting here in last month's range, this gray box here, last month's open. And you have kind of a trend developing higher, but this stock is really just kind of you can see last month's low is right there. That gray box, so that was the previous 2 months ago low, and this is last month's range. So we got some levels here that I would just be interested in looking at for a breakout, because you do have some room up to this level here, so possibly to 879. Just don't get crazy with these stocks. Just play the levels, play the breakouts, wait for the alerts. So we'll set on a little alert here crossing up here. And that's what we want to watch for. I don't want to short this. I don't want to short this because it has been building bases right above its weekly. These cyan levels, these sky blue levels are these weekly closes and opens. So I don't really want to be shorting, because every time it comes into those levels, those are likely to get bought up, especially a stock like this. Probably highly shorted. I don't even really need to look at it to know. I don't know how short it is, but I'm sure it is shorted. XPEV. I'm looking for a higher move up in this stock right here, but it does have a lot of levels to contend with. You got a monthly close, you got last week's high, you got a yearly close. So this is going to run into the same situation as Tesla did where you had some yearly levels to deal with. And so likely to see some choppiness as it comes into that level. So coming back to XPEV, unless they have some crazy news, this 43 needs to break and hold to see just 44. So not a huge amount of upside here on XPEV unless it can break out of all of this. So likely only interested in this thing above 45. And even then you still have this level here at 48. So set a couple of alerts there. I'm only interested in long on that one, but I'm not really that interested right now. AMD we already looked at, so that's everything. So basically these are the stocks I don't really care about that much. I do care about Tesla long, I care about ON long, AMAT long, BABA long, and these are my shorts. I don't really care about MU. Spce I'm long. Wish, you could get long Wish whenever it comes down like this. So we'll look at all of this. So let's look at Tesla here. Look at the flow. Tesla is the biggest and baddest of them all. Hopefully you guys like this kind of stuff, but I'm just going to try it, see if anybody likes this kind of thing. We're going to go through the swatch list, go through these levels. I shout out to my buddy on this last video about his Ishimoku stuff, and he's mad that I didn't explain what the cloud meant. Okay, so here, I'll explain it now in this video. The cloud, I don't know why I have to explain Ishimoku. You can see the cloud. The cloud is just basically some levels from previous, like a high, low. I don't even care about the calculation. I just care that it's just a projection of support and resistance, a dynamic projection of support and resistance. It doesn't matter how it's calculated to me. So maybe I'll get him on here to explain all that stuff. You can definitely just look it up and read it. It's not that hard. Okay, so our levels is we got the 1,000, the 5,000, the 15,000, the 30,000 levels here on Tesla. Basically, all I care about are the bull versus bear premiums here. They all look bullish here, and I could have told you that without even looking at it, that they're fairly bullish. The 30,000s are pretty bullish all across the board, but in general, it's pretty break even. So now we can look at the strikes. I don't know if you guys can see this stuff, but we can look at the strikes here and see, they're kind of targeting a lot of different stuff here. I mean, this is a pretty wide distribution. I'm not used to seeing this wide of a distribution. So this kind of suggests to me there's some indecision going on here about what Tesla's going to do. It's from the big whales. Now they're targeting 9/17. 9/17 is the day after futures expire, which is 9/16. So that's definitely going to be a huge date. I believe it's going to be options expiration for the monthlies. And it's going to be OPEX for weeklies as well. So this is going to be a volatile time here, this 9/17. And even running into that 9/17, I think if you're going to be long, it's going to be until then. I do kind of expect some volatility running into that, but we'll see how that plays out. However, this doesn't inspire a lot of confidence for me, just seeing this wide distribution. Now, I might not be an expert here with this, but that's just kind of the way I've been looking at these flows is I really like to see something like this, where you see a definite level popping out. But if we are looking at this, the 775s, the 790s, we even see people buying into the 1875s, or is that 1375? 1375s, and that's going out till January 2023. Some of these premiums. So looking for a longer term on these 30,000 plus bets. 15,000 bets are essentially, they're bullish, but most of the premiums coming in on the 670. And they're also targeting 9/17. So we're going to move a little bit quicker here. 750s and 700s pretty easy for the 5,000, so they're bullish. So the smaller money effectively looks pretty bullish. 760s. So those are going to probably get some play tomorrow. The 760s, the 775s. I doubt the 800s get tapped this week, but 800s could get tapped next week. So if you're going to buy Tesla, you would be liking shares and selling calls, or buying the 800s or 775s for next week. Probably your best bets if you're going to play it on the safer side. Okay, what's next? Bbig. Get biggie with it. Okay, so let's see here. I really like this stock a lot. It's just an easy trade. It's so nice. It's so easy to play. Let's look at this chart here. I mean, how simple is this? Just waiting for this consolidation to play out. You got a cloud. It just took a little bit of time, but it finally broke out of there, and it just ran and ran and ran, even in the after hours, and went crazy. So right now you can see where it stopped right at last month's high. Okay, so I would not be shorting this thing at this point in time. I would definitely be looking for a breakout of this 12 on this one. So we're going to set an alert there, waiting for a breakout on that one. And then it's blue sky. I mean, there's literally nothing above it. So let's look at the flow. Let's see if that agrees. Same thing. We got the big guys really buying these 7.5s. Let's see if they're buying higher strikes here. Up to the 20s. So we see a ramp here on bullish premium into the 20s for 9.17 and 10.15. Now, these are the only strikes available for Bbig. They're only monthlies at this point, I believe. Let me go see. Where can I check that real quick without showing all my monies and stuff out? Hold on one sec. Let me see. Do they have weeklies? Let me check this out. I don't think Bbig does weeklies, but maybe they added them in there. No, as of right now, they do. They do have this week's. So this week's premium on the Bbig is lower, so I would be buying the 9.17s on this puppy if you're going to be in it. Let's see, 9.17s and 10.15s. But they did start adding weeklies in this. I don't know how long it's been there, but there are weeklies available. But they are targeting the monthly strikes as far as big money goes. Now this is just end of day. This changes all day long, but end of day, this is how it closed. Was extreme bullish in Bbig, so I would be very cautious in shorting this. My friend said that it's extremely hard to borrow right now, and it's extremely expensive to borrow if you do get shares to borrow and short. So this is all the makings of a big short squeeze, probably a la Clove, AMC, GME type of move, or support.com type of move. So I'll definitely be into this one for sure. Bullish on all levels here. Levels they're targeting, we got the 14s, we got the 15s and 20s. So if you like this thing, it's definitely worth, maybe a couple $100 bet might go a long way on something like this for the upside. So buying the 15s or buying the 20s for 10.15, you're pretty safe doing that. Look, 10.15, these guys are buying these smaller monies, as you might imagine, are buying closer just because it's cheaper. But the big money buying 10.15. So this might have a lot of room to run. We don't know when it's going to really make that move, but definitely just sitting in the 10.15s and some kind of strike. The 14s or higher, you're probably okay with this one. So Bbig, I really like that one. That one's at the top of my list. It has been for the last couple days. Now we got ON. I don't know. I don't trade this thing, but let's see how it moves. We got $1.50 move there. Not a big fan of that, but it's good maybe for some shares. Let's look at the flow real quick. I don't like it for options yet. Let's see what the options look like here. So here's the levels. We'll pull up these flow levels and check it out here. Let's see. Okay, we have no $30,000 bets in this. So that's interesting. And then our highest premium amount, 15,000. They're bearish, just in general. Just not a lot of premium here. No wonder it doesn't really move that much. You got a $45,000. You got a $45 stock, $20 billion company. Let's compare it to Bbig here. Bbig's not even $1 billion yet, and Bbig's moving more than this one. So ON, I only like it for longs, but I only like shares and only like maybe in your long term or something like that. So it's really off screen for me at this point, But I will set an alert here. We'll see if it breaks out. See what starts to develop with this one. We'll keep it on the radar here. AMAT. Let's look at the chart again here. It's tangling with this level here. This is a weekly 136.50. So there must be some options activity there. That's the weekly close. And last week open. So we still have this range here that's developed. So we're going to wait for this breakout here on that. But let's go look at the flow real quick. So AMAT below. I don't care about ON, so let's delete that tab. AMAT flow looks like they're pretty bullish. What are they targeting here? I don't know why I always have to shrink the page and then bring it back so I can see the further strikes, but there are 170s being bought here for March of 2022. So ABAT, if you've ever traded this stock, it's a fairly slow mover. I think every once in a while it has a pretty decent run, but this stock, I would not be into it for weeklies. I would definitely be leaps, and you can see 2023, 2023, 2022, 2022 here on the 15s, but most of the money is in at least next year, and in fact 2 years out. So January 2023 is being bought for this one, and we see 135 to 170 range, 170 and higher, but these are the small money, so small money buying way out. Let's look at dark flow in this one. I bet you there's some people loading up shares at least. Let's take a look here at the chart. 60% bullish versus 34%. So you are okay buying this one maybe long-term for shares on AMAT. So not exactly a play for me, but can be for you if you want to buy it on like 401k type stuff, or long-term accounts and whatnot and that kind of stuff. So okay, so Alibaba, Baba. Let's check it out real quick on this one. Look at the levels. Look at the dark flow. Again, go in the description to get unusual whales, and you can do all this stuff yourself on any stock you like. Again, let's bring it in and bring it out so we can see all the levels. Again, some of that indecision. We see that most premium is bearish in Baba, which makes sense. If you look at the chart of Baba right now, it basically came off of this low down here around this 152 level. So it's been kind of really trying to break higher. So you got to really kind of be patient with this one. And whenever I see a stock like something like this, where it's actually at its yearly low, last year's low, which after everything that's ripped like crazy, you got a stock who is at last year's low right now, not even at all-time highs. So definitely could be a short or long depending on the timing. But it is looking like it is trying to break out of this 180 level, which it's going to run into some, if we look back, it's going to run into some resistance here, 188. So not a lot of upside, and then you got the 196 level here. So 188, 196 to the upside on this one. So let's look at the flow. Flow is fairly bearish. Flow is pretty bearish. And then we've got smaller money is bullish. I'm looking at this and I'm going, you could play this for a day trade maybe if you see some momentum happening, if there's some news or something like that. It is showing some buys on the shorter terms. So I'm short term, fairly bullish on it, but not a play for me at this point. If we look at it as we're looking at all this stuff, Bbig and Tsla are obvious, clear, low-hanging fruit, the easy trade. I don't want to mess around with a hard trade like Baba. Baba could run, but I don't really want to play it because it does this stuff where it'll rip and then sell, and rip and sideways, rip and then sell. So when it's down here, there's going to be a lot of bag holders, and I don't want to be battling the bag holders essentially, especially on something bearish like China. So China stocks are fairly bearish right now, so avoid at this point. Or if you feel like playing it in the short term, it is fairly bullish right now, but not really good. So, all right, let's look at Space. Space I'm interested in because I am in Space right now to the upside. And that's just because I saw a few alerts that were bullish. I don't know if people are still bullish on it, but let's take a look. Let's see if it loads here. Okay. So Space, I'm bullish on Space long term. Mainly because, if we do go to Space, what better stock to have than the one that's actually called Space and that has actually proven to go to Space. So let's take a look at it. Bullish, bull, and bear. So small money, bearish. There's probably small monies buying or selling these calls, I'm guessing, since they're, it's not even really, it just hit 24. So I would actually be long this puppy still. Even though the chart doesn't look that great, what you're seeing here on the chart is that you're having kind of a double bottom here off of this yearly level. We know that Space 24 is a really good level, but it could burst out of this cloud here and start heading back higher up to this 26. I don't anticipate much higher than 26, but it could hit this 27.50 if it starts getting some momentum. But I would be a seller there for sure, especially since I'm down here. So If you're interested in this one, pretty low risk play because right here is going to be your stop, essentially, or maybe a little bit below. And then you've got some pretty good upside here. You've got about 3 points here to the upside, and then the calls are still really cheap. I know this. So can definitely play Spce to the upside. I like this one. It has momentum to the upside. So with Bitcoin still being crappy here, so let's see. Bitcoin moving up again. Doesn't have that bad of a cloud to get through. So I don't know. This Mara, I don't like playing these Bitcoin stocks very much because they're a little crazy for me. If you're one of those traders that like to play them, by all means do it. Let's take a look at the flow on it. By all means play it if you like it, but I'd rather just buy Bitcoin than even mess with these stocks in general. And most of the time the premiums are just ridiculous, especially once it starts moving. You can't even buy the strikes, so it's better just to buy the stock and sell covered calls. But it's fairly bearish to 37. Where is it at right now? 32. So they're bearish this area here, which makes sense. It coincides with all this resistance here. So they're bearish. The big guys are bearish at the end of the day today. We got some bull happening here, so a lot of indecision. So people weren't really sure what to happen. I bet you if we saw the flow over time, that they got really bearish here once Bitcoin started cratering, and we can kind of see there was a pop pre-market, and then it was basically, this was probably early morning 4 a.m. when El Salvador is buying Bitcoin, right? So people thinking that's going to be a bullish event. It is definitely not a bullish event. And I was telling my buddies that this was probably a short-term top in Bitcoin, and then it proceeded to fall. And that's just because it's just a sell in the news event. It's just as clear as day, and that's just how Bitcoin works. But it is looking pretty bearish, at least on the chart. The flow isn't that bad, but it is bearish. So like I said, if you want to short this puppy, I would definitely be looking to short in and around this 34.50 level or a break lower of this 30.7 level, which is going to be last month's low. That'll probably take you down pretty far. You could probably collect, there's our next level there. So you got a couple points there, and then you got some more support coming in here in these levels here around 27. So I don't know how long it takes to get there. You would need Bitcoin to be down for this to work. So if this trade was going to work, you'd be looking to get short. Now there's no way it goes to 15 in my opinion, but they are buying, they are short 33s, 32s, and to 15 all the way out to January of 2022. So Riot is short Sava. I mean, I'm not going to spend too much time on Sava because it's a news-driven stock. So right now it's just kind of probably got a lot of bag holders still to deal with. So I'm not going to mess with Sava if I want to buy it or sell it, but I'll tell you what I think about it if you like. But it looks bearish to me. So we got bearish premiums here coming through on all premium levels, not time frames, but all premium levels. But on all time frames, it's also bearish. So definitely a short candidate there. SQ. We're going to look at the levels here in SQ. We're looking bullish here, which is kind of, at the end of the day, SQ is bullish here. And here's the thing, SQ is still on an uptrend overall. So we got the weekly moving averages and the daily are both in buys. And then you basically got a weak buy here. You don't even have oscillators showing sell, but we do have shorter term trends showing sell. So that's probably kind of a little bit of a red flag. But if you see this 30-minute, like if I saw this 30-minute turning around and I saw this hourly turning around, along with the flow showing bullish like it is, definitely would be interested in buying this. Right now, it doesn't look like a trade for me until I see something happening here. So right now, it's in the weekly range. So we'll just set some alerts here just to kind of track that weekly range. We start seeing a breakdown, then we'll go check the flow, seeing if it's really bearish, then we can get some puts on the downside. But you still have this level too to deal with. And so that's why you're not too bearish or bullish here, because it still has quite a few levels to break down, or it can break up. And then here's last month's high, so 289. If you see that start getting attacked here, that's all-time high breakout. So that's blue sky. So we definitely want to be in it if it is going to try and blue sky on everybody. So it's kind of a non-trade for me. And I'm going to leave the rest here. I'm not going to go too long. This is already 29 minutes, one of my longer videos. So if you like this, subscribe. Make sure to sign up for Unusual Whales in the description, and follow me on Twitter. And hope you guys like this. Let me know if you like this kind of review video. If not, we won't do them anymore. All right, peace.